Hello, good morning and welcome. It is my pleasure to be connected today from the European Union Intellectual Property Office here in Alicante for this second webinar on the Ideas Powered for Business SME Fund, the second window of which has recently opened for applications. The main difference this time is that from now on, representatives can apply for the SME Fund on behalf of their clients. The SME Fund is an action of the European Commission implemented by the EUIPO in close collaboration with the national and regional IP offices. And we extend from here our thanks to them for all their support in getting the message out to SMEs in every corner of Europe. My name is Lynn Burtchaell and I work at the Customer Department at the EUIPO. Let me introduce my colleagues now. Sandrine Buard and Sebastien Hanck, who will be dealing with your questions later. Good morning, Sandrine.
Good morning, Lynn. I'm Sandrine. I work for the Finance Department. I've been working on the SME Fund from the start as a finance and legal expert.
Thank you, Sandrine, for being with us today. And now, Sebastien. Good morning, Sebastien.
Good morning, Lynn, and good morning to everybody. So my name is Sebastien, and I work in the customer department of the office of the EUIPO, and I'm in charge of the operational part of the SME Fund. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
Thank you, Sebastien. Before we start, please take note of this warning, which will be important if you go on to register trademarks and designs with us. The EUIPO does not send invoices. So if you get one, it is not from us. So don't pay it. Please double check any request for payment before you pay. Okay, so in the last SME Fund webinar in January, there were many questions and we didn't get around to them all. So given the feedback received, most of today's session will be dedicated to your questions. Please send in your questions as they occur to you. You have an option towards the bottom of your screen. First, I will present the SME Fund in brief. For more details, you can access the SME Fund webpage and the recording of the last webinar, and you have the links here to both those sources of information. And you can download this document so that you can access all the links. Okay, great. After my summary, Sebastien and Sandrine will take your questions. If we don't get around to answering all the questions during the webinar, you can send your question to the email on the screen and we'll send you the answer by email. All questions of general interest will be published with the answer in the 23 EU languages in the Frequently Asked Questions section of the EUIPO website. A moment to consider the importance of intellectual property. Why should an SME be interested in the first place to register their trademarks or designs? Having your IP rights protected is important to prevent others using them without your permission. If you do not register, others can get there first and then try to prevent you from using your own IP rights, trademarks or designs, for example. If you have registered your rights, you may be able to gain income by licensing your rights to others. In a very recent study we carried out with the European Patent Office, it was found that even though only 9% of SMEs in the EU have registered IP rights, those that do report 68% more revenue per employee than those that don't. Impressive. Of course, this does not imply that if you register today, you will immediately earn more money tomorrow. But it is clear that SMEs with IP rights have a higher chance of surviving than those that don't. And this proven positive association between IP rights and economic performance will make investors and business partners prefer those companies that have a good IP strategy and protected IP rights. So it is very important to consider your intellectual property and decide if and what you might need to register, trademarks and designs, for example. The SME Fund will give you financial support so you can do just this. The SME Fund offers financial help to SMEs in all EU member states. It is aimed at businesses that wish to develop their intellectual property strategies and protect their IP rights, trademarks, and designs at national, regional, or EU level. With Service 1, you can get reimbursed 75% of IP pre-diagnostic services offered by participating national IP offices. This is basically an IP audit based on your business needs, carried out by IP experts. It's not legal advice, but more business-oriented. You will identify what IP you own and what IP you should protect. This IP scan, as we call it, will help you to develop an IP strategy for your firm now and in the future. The SME Fund is available from the SME Fund IP scan is available from some of the national offices, and more are coming on board later on in the year. The list is published on the SME Fund website, and you need to check this list to see if the service is offered in your country. Only then can you apply for it, and I'll point out that list to you a little bit later on. Service 2, on the other hand, is available for all EU member states, and you can get reimbursed 50% of the basic application fee of trademarks and designs at national, regional, and EU level. So it is available for national trademarks and designs that give you protection in that country, or EU trademarks and designs that give you protection in the 27 member states of the EU. The SME should make the application for Service 1 or Service 2 or a combination of both, with a maximum reimbursement of €1,500 per SME. Let's take a look at the procedure. This is important because the order has to be this one. 1. The SME applies for the grant and indicates the services, 1, 2, or both, as we mentioned. When you submit your form, you should receive a confirmation email and reference number within the hour. Keep this email and reference number safe. This number should be used in all further communication between us. 2. Then you will get a grant decision. This should come the month after you make your application, although when you get it may depend on the number of applications we get. But rest assured, you will get the grant decision as soon as we can process it. Okay, so 3. If you get a positive decision, you have 30 days to apply for the services, trademarks, and/or designs and/or IP pre-diagnostics, as indicated in the grant application in point 1. 4. After you apply and pay for the services, then you can apply for reimbursement with proof of payment. For the IP scan, you will need the invoice from the national office. For the trademark and design applications, you will need the application number and proof of payment. And you apply for reimbursement using the link in the requests reimbursement form that is indicated in the grant decision in point 2. If you get a negative grant decision, you can apply again in a subsequent window. Why might you get a negative grant decision? For example, if we ask you to complete the documentation and you don't do it on time, you will get a negative grant decision and you can apply again in the next window. The fund is awarded on a first-come, first-served basis, and each window has an allocated budget. So if the budget runs out by the time we get to your application, you will get a negative decision, and you can apply again in the next window. Important to note, you need to wait to get the grant decision before applying for Service 1 or 2. So you need to get the grant decision, the positive grant decision, before you apply for your trademarks or designs or for the IP scan. So when can the SME apply for the grants? The first window in January closed with over 1,200 applications, and the second window is now open until the end of March so you can apply right away. Subsequent windows will open in May, July, and September. You can only apply for the grant during an open window using the online form provided. The SME can apply for one service in one window and the other service in a subsequent window. Only one grant application per service, however, is allowed in total. What does the SME need to know and have ready before applying? By following this checklist on the SME Fund page, the SME can ensure it is eligible, revise the procedure, and prepare the necessary documentation before applying. If you have doubts if your company qualifies as an SME, you can check the first link to the EU definition of SMEs with some clear examples. Check the links that give you examples of the documents you need to submit for each member state. If you have doubts on how to fill in the VAT field, for example, you can check this document and follow the example of your country, including the country code. Now for a numerical example, as there was some confusion on this. If you apply only for service 1, IP scan, and it costs you €1,000, you can get 75% reimbursement, so €750. And as the maximum reimbursement is €1,500, you could still be reimbursed another €750 in a subsequent window for the other service, service 2. In this case, you apply only for service 2. Imagine 2 national trademarks that cost €250 each. The cost of national marks varies from country to country, by the way. And 2 EUTMs, so 2 EU trademarks at €850 each. That's the basic application fee. Okay? The total cost here would be €2,200, and you can get reimbursed 50%, which is €1,100. And as the maximum reimbursement is €1,500, you could still be reimbursed another €400 in a subsequent window for the other service, or service 1. Now, if you were to apply for both the previous examples, so service 1 and service 2, the total cost in this case would be 1,000 plus 2,200, so total cost 3,200, and the reimbursement would be 750 plus 1,100. Now this adds up to 1,850, and in this case you would get reimbursed 1,500 because the maximum reimbursement per SME is 1,500. Okay? So I hope that was clear, and in the frequently asked questions, this numerical example appears in case you have any doubts or want to check it. Now, before we go quickly to the SME Fund webpage, let me mention that in case you're interested, our next webinar will be dedicated to Service 1, the IP Pre-Diagnostic Service, or IP Scan. And that takes place on the 23rd of March at 10 a.m. Spanish time. And here is the link where you can join that webinar. So we hope to see you there. Okay, so now let's take a very quick look at the SME Fund webpage where you can apply for the SME Fund. Here you can see the homepage of the EUIPO. So let's go in there. Okay, so as you can see, this area is for the SMEs, and you can click here on the SME Fund. There's another way in, and I want to show you this. So up here, Ideas Powered for Business. This is our SME Hub, which contains tailor-made information for small and medium-sized businesses. So check it out. You might find it interesting. Here we see the Ideas Powered for Business SME Fund. So here's where you access to the SME Fund. And right underneath, there is another service which is separate from the SME Fund, but let me just point it out quickly, the free personalized consultation. So if you click here, you can apply to get free personalized consultation. So it's a pro bono service offered by IP experts all over Europe. Okay, so perhaps if you wanted to apply for service to the trademarks and designs in the SME Fund, you might first want to get free personalized consultation from an IP expert so that you know how to do the grant application or the application for the trademark and design. Okay, let's go to the SME Fund page now. Here we have all the information that we have already briefly gone through. Let me point out this link. This is the list to the national and regional IP offices of the EU that are offering the IP scan or IP pre-diagnostic service. Okay, so you need to check this link to make sure that it's offered in your member state before you apply. Here is the checklist. Okay, so this is important that you go through it before you make your application. You have all the links with examples from the different member states. Here you apply, so click here when you're ready to apply. And let me point out also at the very end the frequently asked questions. And here under websites, you have frequently asked questions. Okay, so you might want to check that out first. If you have a question, maybe the answer is already there. Okay, so here also you have a code that takes you straight to the free personalized consultation on intellectual property. If you download the presentation, you can access there too. Okay, so where to find information and get support? As we just said, you have information on the SME Fund webpage and also the call for proposals document. This also appears in the checklist. You can send an email to information@euipo.europa.eu. You can call us on the number that appears on the screen, and there's a live chat on the EUIPO website. So when you're filling up your application, as long as you do it within office hours, you will have a live chat there, so you can get on. You can get support right there and then. And of course, you have the facts that I just showed you. Okay, great. So I think now it's time for questions. Are we ready, Sandrine and Sebastien? I think I can already go to question 1. So from Paris, we are IP representatives. Can you please confirm that we can apply for the grants, IPRs and reimbursement on behalf of our SMEs?
I can take this one if you want. So the answer is that yes, representatives can apply for the grant on behalf of the SMEs. There is a specific section in the e-form to introduce their data, and they will have to upload an authorization signed by the SME, allowing them to do so. So what is very important is to follow the process afterwards. So you need to wait until the grant award decision has been issued, and then you can proceed to request the IP rights. And once you have done so, you have applied for the IP rights, and you have paid for them, you can then request the reimbursement. You have 30 days from the award decision date to apply for the IP rights. And then once you have applied, you are requested to request reimbursement as soon as possible. What is important is to remember that the grant, the reimbursement of the grant, will take place to the SME's bank account. So I hope I answered that one.
Okay, thank you so much, Sebastien. Okay, question 2 now from Vienna. By which deadline must the application for reimbursement be submitted? As information on your website distinguishes the 31st of December 2021 or the 30th of January 2022.
Thank you, Lynn. I think I will take that one. So all requests for payments must be submitted by the end of January 2022. If you submit your request for payment after that, unfortunately, you will not be reimbursed.
Okay, good. So until the end of January 2022, you can still submit your reimbursement request. Okay, great. Next from Alicante. Oh, and we have a neighbor. How many grants are planned to be given in each window?
I will reply to that one too. We cannot really say how many grants per window. This is very difficult to estimate because each window is in fact limited by a budget and not the number of grants. Grants will be awarded until the budget is spent. 4 million was assigned to each window when the fund was launched in January. So if money is left over in a window, it passes on to subsequent windows. This is why we have 6 million euro for March.
Okay, great. So 6 million euro for March. So plenty of budget there for you to apply, I'm sure. Next question from Germany, from Frankfurt. And they ask, Service 2, is there a limit for the number of trademarks? And, oh, we did that one already, sorry. The next one, Amsterdam. This one comes from Amsterdam. I'm a representative. Can I do the entire process on behalf of the SME and discount the grant received from my bill?
I can reply to this one. So basically, you can do the entire process, but what you cannot do is to receive the money awarded. So basically, the money will always be refunded directly to the bank account of the SME.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Sebastien. Next question then, from Italy. Thank you for your clear and useful presentation. If an application for grant is filed for Service 2 and not accepted for a certain window, can the SME submit the same application for grant of Service 2 during the following window?
I will take that one. Yes, you can. If your application is rejected, you can perfectly resubmit another application in a subsequent window. So how do you know your application is rejected? You will receive a notification letter. Please read this very carefully. It will give the reason for your rejection. And this could be, for example, that a document was missing, your application was incomplete or incorrect. And by reading the reason for rejection, you can then make sure that the new application is correct and complete.
Thank you, Sandrine. Okay, so next question is from Dublin. Can I use the grant to renew existing trademarks? Thank you.
I will reply to that one. The scope of the SME Fund covers only basic application fees. So unfortunately, it does not include renewal fees.
Okay, so it doesn't cover renewals, only applications. Okay, next question from Bucharest. What if a company, micro, has not the legal obligation to pay VAT? The form requires the VAT certificate. What can be done?
I can reply to this one. It's a very frequently asked one. So we are aware of that, and we have adapted the application form. So now you can introduce the tax identification number, the TIN, and of course, what you have to do is to upload supporting documents. I don't know, Lynn, if you have the possibility to show in the slide that we saw your last slide, there was a link to a document where we have examples of this TIN. I think it's good to show that document, if that's technically possible.
I'm not sure if the audience can see the screen now, but maybe our technicians can show the screen so I can show the document.
It was on the very last slide. You have a link to the VAT and the other documents which are accepted.
Yes. I'm opening it, but I'm not sure if our, I don't think our audience can see it. In any case, it's on the checklist and it's the VAT documents. So if you click on that, you have all the different options for the different national offices. For Ireland, for example, it's the value added tax identification number. And for Spain, to give another example, It's the número de identificación fiscal, formerly named Código de Identificación Fiscal. So you can go through that document.
We can see the document now, Lynn. We can see it.
Great. There you go. Okay, Sebastien, would you like to say anything on the document?
You said everything. So basically, you can use these are examples of numbers which are acceptable, of identification number which are acceptable. So you have that in the frequently asked question, and also in the PowerPoint that Lynn is showing. Okay,
and you can get to this document. Let me just remind you where. From the checklist from this link. Okay? Okay, I think we can go on to the next question then. The next question is from the Czech Republic. Dears, how old can be the VAT certificate and the document, let's see, concerning existing bank account? Thank you.
Well, I would reply to that. When you upload your supporting documents, please make sure that they're recent. What does that mean, recent? It means, generally speaking, issued in the past 12 months. But don't you worry, because if we consider that the documents you uploaded are a bit too old, we will contact you and ask you for updated ones.
Thank you very much, Sandrine. Okay, so the next question now is from Portugal. Only trademark applications with a class or with additional classes are eligible as well. So I think they mean if trademarks with additional classes are eligible for the SME Fund.
Yes, I will reply. The SME Fund offers the possibility to get the refund of 50% of the fees of the basic application fees for trademarks and designs. So basically, extra class fees and other fees, such as publication fees for designs, are excluded.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much, Sebastien. Okay, now next question comes from Brussels. Can starters who are still in development to register as a company use the services regarding the VAT number?
I will take that one. In order to apply to a grant, the applicant must be an SME. What does that mean? It means it must be an enterprise that engages in an economic activity. As a consequence, starters that are not yet registered and have not yet engaged in economic activities may not apply for grants. In the checklist that Lynn already showed you, there's a link to the official EU definition of an SME. It contains very concrete example, and it's a good start to go and look at it.
Okay, thank you so much, Sandrine. And it's the first link on the checklist, okay? That one to the EU definition, it's the first link. And there's quite clear examples there, so please check that out if you've any doubt. No, basically you have to be registered and carrying out economic activity and be a small, medium-sized company, which means anything up to 250 employees or 249 employees, and I think 50 million turnover per year, no? But all of this is in the document, so you can check that out. Okay, so next question from Malta. Can an NGO, so a non-governmental organization, apply for the service?
I will reply. So the legal form of the applicant is irrelevant as far as it is an SME, as explained by Sandrine. I mean, and we have the definition, the clear definition available on the website. What is important is that the general principle is that the SME must have some kind of economic activity. If that is the case, this will be good. This will be okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Sebastien. Next question from Spain. They don't say the city. In the IP scan legal advice, is the IP scan legal advice? Do lawyers provide this service? Thank you.
Okay, so I will also reply to this one, Sandrine. No, I mean, the answer is no. It's IP pre-diagnostic or IP scan does not constitute legal advice. So basically, the participating, because all national offices do not offer this service, so the participating offices are the ones who appoint the experts who can do this or offer this service one. And what they do is that they do an audit of the possibilities in terms of IP, and they give recommendations to the SME, but it's not considered to be legal advice.
Okay, thank you so much, Sebastien. Next question from Hannover in Germany. We are an IP consultation company. Do we have to enlist first at the EUIPO before offering IP scan services for customers?
I will also reply. So the national offices, the participating national offices, are the one designating the experts. So this is really on their decision. So I would invite you to check in the frequently asked question if your national office is participating, offering this service, and address that question to them, because it's not at the discretion of the EUIPO to select the designated experts.
Okay, thank you, Sebastien. Great. So the next question is also from Germany. SME Fund. If the services 1 and 2 are applied for in different windows, how is the maximum of €1,500 calculated?
I can reply to that one. Well, if you file separate application, the amount requested will be checked against the amount already awarded for the previous service. We need to ensure that the maximum amount of €1,500 is not exceeded. For example, let's say you have a grant of €1,000 that's been awarded to you in a window. In a subsequent window, you apply for the other services. The maximum grant amount you could receive for this second request will be the remainder, which is €500. In the presentation that Lynn showed you, you've got another example of 2 grants and the maximum amount calculated.
Thank you, Sandrine. And as I said, that example is also in the frequently asked questions. So you can check that again if there's any if you still have a doubt there. Okay, the next question from the Netherlands, Den Haag. We have filed our trademark through a professional trademark attorney. Can we have him file the request for reimbursement?
I will take the question. So if I heard well, Lynn, you used past. So
yes, we have filed. So the question, already filed.
Yes. So in this case, unfortunately, the answer would be no. Representatives can apply for the grant, they can apply for the IP rights, they can apply for the refund on behalf of the SME, but the process must be followed. So there is an order to be followed. So if you already applied for the trademark, you will not be able to receive a refund. First, you need to apply for the grant. Once it's awarded, you have 30 days to apply for the IP rights. And once you have done so, you can apply for the refund. But you cannot apply first for the trademark and then for the refund.
Okay, yes, I think we pointed that out on the procedure. So it's very important. First apply for the grant, and after you get the grant decision, it's when you have 30 days there to apply for the trademarks, designs, or IP scan. Thank you very much, Sebastien. Next question from Nicosia. If an SME applies during January and gets the grant, is there a specific time limit when they must proceed with the national application? I think we just answered that, but does anybody?
Yeah, I can just clarify it once more, because this is very important point. So you have 30 days to apply for IP rights. It starts from the date you receive the grant decision. Basically, this means if you apply for the grant today, you might receive the grant decision, for example, mid-April, and then you have until mid-May to apply for your IP rights.
Thank you so much, Sandrine. Next question, another one from Germany, this time Wiesbaden. Is the application for SMEs possible in all 23 languages?
I will take this one, and the answer is yes. You have the application forms, all the forms in relation to this SME Fund available in all EU official languages, and we will also communicate with you in this language.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, now we have a question from London. Can an existing UK SME apply for the SME grant and then apply for EU trademark?
Sandrine, I will also answer. So applicants of the SME grant must be established in the EU. So UK is not in the EU anymore. So in that case, UK SMEs are not eligible. So they cannot apply for the SME Fund. However, UK SMEs can apply for European trademarks or RCDs. However, they will have to comply with the condition of representation. And in case of doubt, I would recommend them to contact the information center for more information on that.
Okay, thank you so much, Sebastien. Next question, all the way from the Czech Republic. Do the application fees have to be paid from the applicant's bank account, which is stated in the grant application, or can they be paid from the account of the lawyer who represents him? If so, must this account number be submitted in the application? Thank you.
Okay, so the person who pays the application fee is not important for us. I mean, what is important to know is that the refund of the fees will only take place in the account of the SME. But both the applicant can pay directly the fees or the representative.
Thank you so much, Sebastien. Next question again from Alicante. Hi, who will examine the grant application?
I will reply to that. Well, the EUIPO has appointed an evaluation committee. It's composed of experienced staff members. What happens is the evaluation committee assesses each application, and then it drafts a report where it presents the conclusion to the authorizing officer, which in this case is the director of the customer department. The authorizing officer then takes the decision to award the grants and then send out all the grant decisions.
Okay, thank you so much, Sandrine. And next question again from Alicante. Does SME cover very small enterprises such as company without employee? So a company with no employee.
So the answer is to this one is yes. All European SMEs complying with the conditions can apply for the SME Fund. And I will again point out to the table that you mentioned before with the clear description on how to check if you are an SME. But the answer is yes.
Great. Okay, fantastic. Last question that I have here. I'm an accountant and work for many SMEs. I do their administrative tasks. Can I apply for the grant on their behalf? So an accountant.
I will reply to that one. I think this is a very recurrent question at the moment. Yes, you can represent your SMEs, and you only need to submit the authorization. So what does that mean? I think Sebastien has explained it a bit before. You have to upload from our website a declaration. The SME needs to sign this declaration, and then the representative can submit the application with all the supporting documents, including the authorization from the SMEs.
Okay, thank you so much, Sandrine. So have we time for any more questions, Sebastien or Sandrine?
I can see that there are some more questions in the chat. So if you want, we can go through them. So I see, for instance, one question from Romania asking if the decision grant includes the registration of several trademarks, can you apply for less and still be reimbursed? So the answer is yes, it works in that sense, but it does not work in the opposite. So basically, you can then apply for less and be reimbursed, but you cannot apply for more and be reimbursed. So there are more questions. I don't know, Sandrine, if you want to.
Yes, I will take this question from Italy. How can IP representatives apply on behalf of the clients? Shall they use the same application form available for SMEs? So we've already mentioned this subject. This is exactly the same application form. You just have to upload the authorization from the SME with all the justification documents, and the application will go through on the name of the SME.
Okay, great.
Okay. And I will read one more, which is there from Sophia. How long does it take, as from the application date, to receive a reply whether the application for fund is approved? So this is well stated in the call for proposal. So we have 2 months from the closure of the window to take the decision. And I can see that there is another question on the very same topic, a little bit above in the chat. So, and I can only tell you that we are examining and issuing the decisions as quickly as we can, and that up to today, the huge majority of the decisions for window 1 have been already sent. The other ones are about to be sent.
Okay, so I think we've come to the end of the questions, unless there's any other ones you think.
I think I can find a few ones that are just arriving now. And one is saying, if your application for the grant is refused, are you told why? And this question comes from Cork in Ireland. So yes, you will be told why. You will receive a notification letter with a reason for rejection. As I said before, you can then resubmit another application. Read very carefully the reason for rejection, and then make sure that the next application you corrected or completed your application.
Great, thank you so much, Sandrine, for that. Any more questions coming in? No? Okay, so as I said, if you do have more questions that come to you later, please send them in to the email that we already shared with you. And you can also see it on the presentation if you download it, because we are here at your service, and we would be very happy to help if you have any doubts. And yeah, so please contact us, okay? Now, in conclusion, we would like to, of course, encourage you to apply for the SME Fund. Sebastien, how is window 2 going? Is there still budget left for our audience to apply in March?
Window 2 is going fine. We have received approximately 700 requests, but there is still plenty of budget available. So yes, I confirm that I invite all the SMEs who need IP rights to take this opportunity.
Fantastic. Okay, so please apply. And as I said, if you have any questions, let us know. This service is especially intended to help SMEs during the COVID crisis. So we hope you find it beneficial. In any case, keep tuned. We launch our new SME website under the Ideas Powered for Business brand during 2021. And we can promise you there a whole range of tools and services for startups and small and medium-sized enterprises. So keep tuned. And finally, on behalf of all of us here at EUIPO, Sandrine and Sebastien, we thank you for joining us here today.